Hey, Troy. Hope you're staying dry.
Trying to.
Rough, rough morning. I just want to check first on Peklo's progress and where he is in possibly returning to the game day roster. If not tomorrow, then Saturday.
Yeah, I'm making good progress, and it's possible. You know, I said that the other day, but I still feel the same way. It's possible for tomorrow night. I think Saturday, I feel even more confident with a few more days if it's not tomorrow. But he's looking really strong. I mean, he's in training now, and there's just certain things that we need to make sure he's going to be okay, not just for one match back, but for the long term now. Just because he had an injury in the beginning of the season, and now he's sustained a second one. We have to also keep in mind he played almost a half a season before joining us, so we just have to make sure that he's going to be okay before putting him back in fully.
And does the weather and the presumed slick conditions play into bringing a player such as him or anybody else back?
In terms of it just being a lot of rain in the forecast, is that what you mean? Or?
Just in terms of the footing's not as great, the possibility of aggravating a recent injury,
Yeah.
I guess increases. Does that play into the decision?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to speak on that behalf in terms of. I think that's probably more a question of Dave Rhodes. I would lean on him a lot more about the surface, but I have to say the surface has held up really well. I mean, I mentioned that in a press conference a few weeks ago. So I'm hoping, even though there's been a lot of rain and there's probably more in the forecast, that the surface will hold up okay, and we don't have any of those concerns going in about player selection. But I would want to speak a little bit more thoroughly with someone who's more of an expert in that field.
Anyone else, injury wise, on your radar? Any concerns?
No, I mean Gabby's still making progress, as is Lucas McNaughton and Dominique Badji are a little bit further away, but they've started really well into some of their return to play. So everyone else though is fit and available.
Thanks.
Next, we'll go to Dave Johnson.
Hi, Troy. You mentioned it after the game on Saturday, passed, and I think Lucas Bartlett said similar things. What is the key to making sure your identity and you're aggressive enough tomorrow or in any game?
Yeah, look, I think first the mindset coming into any match has to be there, and this is something that we speak a lot about and work on quite thoroughly in terms of just the intensity that we want to have in everything that we do, whether it's on the field in training or even the type of focus that we want to have in any kind of individual or small group or team video session, so that we're thoroughly prepared to go on the field and then implement that. But it also has to be the right setup always. I mean, that's the responsibility that I take on the weekend of just saying, we have to make sure the setup is right so everyone feels confident to go and be in our way. And then I want to see more personalities out of our guys. I really do. We have some great personalities in our group, and whenever there's that synergy that we want to create between different players on the field as they're solving problems together and creating problems for the opponent, that's when we're at our best. And we've seen that in many matches this year, but we want to see it more consistently.
Picking up on what you just said about that this is a young team. You got younger this year. Unleashing personalities is so important. As you mentioned, we've seen that. I'm trying to come up with the question here. Just how do you free up those personalities, or just more on what you were talking about there?
I mean, I think the first thing is always trying to make everyone feel comfortable to be exactly who they are, and that type of environment is something that we want to continue to try to foster, particularly with a young group. And so, I need these players to, even though some of them are young in age, I need them to step up and play with the talent that they have, that we've identified in them. And we have a lot of confidence in every single player in our roster. And through this stretch of many matches coming, I think we're going to see a number of those guys have opportunities, and now it's up to them to make the most of them.
Thank you.
Next, we'll go to Donald Wine.
Thank you. Hey, Troy, thanks as always for your time today. Looking for tomorrow, you're playing NYCFC. what do you see about them that you need to attack tomorrow, and how does your game plan maybe change with the weather that's expected?
Yeah, I probably, just as I answered with Steven, I wouldn't go too much into thinking about the weather. That'll be a factor, but I don't want to spend too much time on that necessarily in regards to what we want to do in the match and preparing the team. I'd say there's some similarities to what we just faced against Toronto. You've got a team that has a lot of talented players that are capable of breaking lines and playing between the lines, and really good passing team. And so what I want to see a little bit differently is for us to be able to go and be aggressive and create ball wins in the areas that we typically do. And that's not always easy when you have a team that, like New York City, is so good at, with their identity of connecting passes and playing and progressing the ball through the lines and then ultimately chance creation. I think we respect them, but it's our job on the day to go and take that away from them.
Great, thank you.
And then just a couple from me, Troy. You know, a short week with another game on Wednesday. What has the mindset been going like into a week with a bunch of games, especially like you alluded to the month of May with a bunch of matches coming up?
Yeah, I mean, I said a week ago, Brian, that like this period for us is, I mean, it's exciting and we're looking forward to it, and it's a wonderful time during the season. What I feel going into the next 3 weeks is an important time too. You know, not to just be excited about it, but it's an important part of the season that will bring us at the end of May to the halfway point and really show exactly where we are in the league, and what we need to do to improve our position. And then we know an Open Cup round of 16 matches there, so there's a potential to be in a competition at the end of May as well through this period of time. So that it's just, we have to enjoy this time period, but make the most of this time period and recognize how important it is towards 2025.
Absolutely. And then goalkeeper Luis Barza will be playing against his former team in New York City FC, team that drafted him in 2019. How has he been in training and just in general since stepping up? Yeah,
man, Luis is someone that I have thoroughly enjoyed working with. Whenever he was in the process of being drafted, I was in New Mexico. He's a kid that lived in New Mexico, so we tried to bring him to New Mexico United at the time, and he gets drafted by New York City, and he ends up winning the reserve position for a number of years, wins a trophy with them, starts a lot of matches for New York City in 2023, and I think he stepped in and shown a lot of veteran experience that we need. Just to give some stability to the group. And I know he's looking forward to playing against a club that still has a place in his heart. I mean, he respects that club. I know that. And they gave him an opportunity. He made the most of that opportunity. And I think he's making the most of his time with DC United so far.
Absolutely. And then it looks like we have a couple more from Zoom. We'll take Dave Johnson next.
Troy, just picking up on what you said about the New York connecting passes, what is the key to disrupting that flow against New York City?
Yeah, I mean, it's there's a few different things, but I want to make sure that we're going together, and you need multiple players to be working together to be synchronized and try to outnumber them, because they're certainly going to try to outnumber us with the players that they want to get on the ball. So that's going to be a big deal for us.
And then we'll end it with Dennis Gomez.
Thank you, Brian. Troy, thank you for speaking with us. We've heard that one of the goals is to make the playoffs this year. It's been the time of the season where teams start to add more points, and so going from here, you're about 4 points from the 9th position. What is the talk that you have with your team, and just letting them know that every game now just truly matters?
Yeah, a little bit, Dennis. Thank you for that. What I just said to Brian, I mean, particularly during this period of time when there's going to be so many matches in a condensed time period, we're going to come out of this at the end of May and really have a greater understanding of exactly where we are at the halfway point. So we can't look past any matches, that's for sure, and certainly the cliche applies to only being focused on New York City right now before looking at any other match. But there's no doubt about, with these matches coming in such quick fashion, we have to be able to start to pick up points to achieve the goal that you mentioned, and that is absolutely still in our view for 2025.